Hi everyone, I hope you are all well. I'm filming this quite early in the morning. This Sunday morning is today. It's going to be so far of this year, the hottest day of the year. It's going to hit about 27 degrees where I am. So I'm getting this done early, out of the way, so I'm not sitting in a boiling hot room. Learning from last week when massive plane flew over right in the middle of my review, I have closed the windows. So hopefully that will take out the noise, but other windows in the house are open. So if we hear stuff, you hear stuff, is what it is. Before I kick off this review, I just want to give an FYI for this coming week because from tomorrow through to Friday, and there's a massive plane just right there. This is the problem with living near an airport. There we go. Well, hopefully there won't be any more. Monday through to Friday, this week coming up, I am going to be working, and it's my last week of working before my week off, so I'm going to be very, very busy. Then at the weekend, it's going to be my birthday, Father's Day, and my brother-in-law's birthday. And so I might be quite busy, so you might not get a review from me next weekend, but we'll just have to see what happens. But then after next weekend, I've got a week off from work, so I'll be doing lots and lots of reading. So we'll see how I go with my my book reading then. So, and I've yesterday got a couple of books in the post for my birthday. So yeah, I'm going to be those, along with other reads and such, are going to be a combination for my next 5 reads. I've decided, rather than read and carry on with the bulk that you've already seen, I thought, you know what, new set of 5, let's go with what I've got for my birthday and any others that I mix in. So yeah, let's do that. So that's a heads up for next week, following into the week after that. I just might be a busy bee, so I might not be able to get the review of my next read to you next week. But anyway, that out of the way, I'm here to talk about the book I have been reading this week, which is Sourdough by Robin Sloin. Now, in case you didn't see me talk about this in my announcement video, I caught onto this book because of Ariel Bissett, who is a YouTuber. I really like her YouTube channel. She reads a wide spectrum of books, and she always reads books that I never heard of before. And she was talking about, I think it was a couple of years ago now, she was talking about reading this book and how it really got her into wanting to bake. She started making sourdough and vlogged it and stuff, and I just thought it was really interesting that a fictional book would inspire her to want to bake and such. So I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to check this out. So I got it. I've now gotten around to reading it, and I have to say, I was really disappointed. That's a good way to start off my 200th review on this channel, isn't it? But you know, it is what it is. So in case you don't know what this is about a woman called Lois Clary, who has developed a career in robotics. She's really into IT. She has been since she was young because it's something her dad worked in, and so there was a lot of IT around the home and such, and it's just, naturally she's gone into that career. She's moved to San Francisco for this great job, but she's feeling a bit off about it, and she gets diagnosed with stress. And in order to help relieve the stress, her boss puts her and the rest of her team on this liquid diet. It's like a gel meal substitute called slurry. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's just, yeah, that name is so appetizing. And in the evenings, so she finds that she's having this like liquid gel diet thing. In the evenings, she finds this little kind of takeaway. It's run by two brothers that sell spicy soup and sourdough, and she becomes a regular customer. So much so she's known as the number one eater, and sadly they get thrown out of the country because of visa problems, and they leave her with their sourdough starter, which basically is like the bacteria, the yeast and such that you feed it flour and it produces gas and bubbles, and you take a part of that out of the jar that is kept in, put that into your bread mixture, and it makes the bread rise and such and makes beautiful sourdough. And so they give this to her and ask her to keep it alive, and it sparks her interest in sourdough and leads her on this journey of discovering what she wants from life, who she is, and etc. So that's your overall premise. Now, for a start off, I was like, okay, the first third to a half, it's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Then the second half just went into this whole different fantasy era world thing. Like, I have no idea what the hell this story is anymore. Just, I don't want to give anything away, but at the point where they mentioned the culinary mafia, I was like, Robin, have you been watching or listening, should I say, to My Dad Wrote a Porno by any chance? In case you don't know what I'm referring to, go listen to it. It is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, you have to be an adult to listen to it. Basically, My Dad Wrote a Porno is a podcast about James Alexander, who his dad, when his dad retired, presented him with pages of this book that he was writing and saying, look, I'm writing this novel. I'd love to know what you think. Let me know. James didn't realise, though, that he was actually reading his dad's erotic fiction, which is just pure porn, but it's so unbelievably bad that it's good. And he invites his friends to basically listen to him read a chapter to them, and they break it down and they discuss it. It's been going on. They're now on book 6, and it's so amazing. And his dad absolutely loves the podcast. He loves the masses of people who listen every week to it, and he writes under the pseudonym Rocky Flintstone. But yeah, enough about My Dad Wrote a Porno. I'd say go listen to it. It's brilliant. I listen to it via Castbox app, and yeah, it's great. But it was like, but if you know My Dad Wrote a Porno, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about culinary mafia. It was just a bit like, oh my God, where the hell is this story going? Now, one thing I want to make absolutely clear here, it's kind of like, I'm not being a bitch by saying this, but it's like, what were you thinking, Robin? What the hell? I'm baffled. I am so confused by this book, and it's like he doesn't understand. The lead character is a woman. It's told from her perspective, but he doesn't understand things that women do, how women respond to that. It's just a bit like, why are you doing this? And it read like a Hallmark story. I'm not being critical to be mean. It's like, as a woman, I'm sat reading this and I'm like, do you have any idea what women think or feel about something? Like, for example, there is a bit, right? Lois, right, okay, let me go back to the beginning. So Lois has said in her childhood her family didn't cook. She has never ever cooked in her entire life. She survived on junk food as a child, and then when she went into like university years, she turned to salad because she was like, oh, I should really get better diet. But she describes herself as a vegetarian. It's weird because she talks about having salads, but then she describes herself as a vegetarian who doesn't eat vegetables. So it's a bit like, okay, are you gonna explain that? No, he didn't. And then because of her job, she's gone on to this liquid diet or gel diet, slurry diet thing to relieve her stress. So she's never cooked before, ever. She has nothing in her kitchen relating to cooking, but she can produce sourdough that's perfect and such. And then when she starts making the sourdough, because it's only her who knows, inside, she starts eating it. She eats like a loaf, nearly a loaf every single day. And then he says, right, I've gained muscle in my arms because of kneading the dough. Makes total sense. I've gained muscle on my thighs because she's riding a bike around San Francisco. She's trying to get, more fit and such. So she's riding a bike, which makes sense. She says, oh, I've now got a butt because of, riding the bike and everything and doing what I'm doing. Makes sense. And then she says that despite all that, I've managed to lose 10 pounds. What? I'm sorry, if you gain muscle has weight. So you're gonna gain weight. But she's lost 10 pounds. And what does she do? She starts twerking in front of a mirror. And I'm like, what? And I'm sorry, if your boss, from my perspective, her as a woman, if your boss looks you up and down and says, oh, you need to go on a diet, especially as a woman, I'm going to be bloody offended by that. I'm not, anybody look at me up and down, especially in a workplace environment in front of everyone, and tell me to my face that I need to go on a diet, I would not be okay with that. No person would be okay with that. But it's like, look, but Lois just goes, oh well, and just does whatever. She bows down to the men in her office, and I'm like, girl, if this is making you unhappy, get the fuck out of there. But she doesn't. She stays. She makes sourdough and everything. And then, as I said, like she can make perfect sourdough straight away. So much so that like within a week, I think it is, or maybe 2 weeks, the professional chef at the cafeteria in her workplace then gets interested and starts asking her what her secrets are. And it's like, you're a professional chef and this woman has told you she's only been doing this for a week or two. And yeah, it baffles the mind, this, but especially from a human perspective. If you are being told that you have got stress, if you are working hellish crazy hours, if you have you're having serious problems, your boss has looked you up and down and told you to go on a diet in front of all of your colleagues, get the fuck out. I'm sorry, baking bread is not going to save things. But of course, in this book, because it reads like a Hallmark script, everything she does is perfection. And there were things in this book also which, as a Brit, completely confused the heck out of me. And so much so that I actually had to contact mine and my sister's friend Sarah in America and ask her, what the heck does this mean? Because she talks about Michigan-sized mortgages. Is that big? Is that small? What is that? It's like Robin has written this not thinking about the international market that this book is being published for. It's just, what does that even mean? And I had Sarah very kindly explain stuff to me. She sent me screenshots of mortgage rates for different states so I could understand, and how California is so crazy with the mortgage rates and amounts and such. It's just like, I just, there were just things that just, I was just constantly baffled. Baffled is how I have to describe the way that I felt with this book. But then as time goes further on, it then gets even weirder with relating to underground food markets in old army bunkers, culinary mafia, meeting hippies, talking, milking goats and such, and I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? And then the ending was just ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. It started out as something that could be very promising, and I was thinking, right, so this girl, she's, as I said, she's completely stressed out, she's thousands of miles away from her family, either on the other side of the country or whatever. She's got nobody, none of her friends or anything around her. The only thing she finds joy in is ordering soup and sourdough from this couple of brothers in this small takeaway. And then that gets ripped out from under. So I thought, okay, so maybe the sourdough making the bread is going to become like a therapy. And it was a therapy for like a page, and then it became straight away into a business and units and prices and all this stuff. And I'm sorry, she managed to build an outside oven, a brick oven, by herself, absolutely flawlessly, in San Francisco. And I'm like, so why is everything perfection? She doesn't even have this like development thing of learning from her mistakes and trying over and over to get something right. It just boom happens. And another thing that I was just a bit like, she tries out for farm markets, and it's very there's lots of people who want to get the very limited number of spots. It's her first time trying. She doesn't succeed, and she's like, oh well, then my life is everything's over. It's like, no, you didn't succeed for that one area in that one marketplace. There's tons of others out there, girl. Go for them. And she's only going for the food marketplace because someone gave her the idea that she might want to try it. So it's not even something that she wants. It's just something that she got suggested to do, and she fails at it. But of course, oh no, she doesn't fail, because she gets taken aside by this mysterious woman who tells her about this secret underground food market, and instantly she's in. Like, what the hell is this? Although it did flow well, the chapters are only a matter of a few pages long, so they're relatively short. I think I ended up finishing this book. Honestly, I couldn't understand why I was reading it. My sister and Sarah were going, why the hell are you still reading this book? Because I was telling them as the story went along what was happening. I think I was honestly reading it because it's like my dad wrote a porno. I can't believe this is happening, but I kind of want to read on to find out how this is going to end. And the ending was just ridiculous. So for something that I was so excited to read as something that could have been really promising, and it really could have been, the way that it opened, it really could have been something to talk about mental health and such, and different therapies, and that not everyone fits in a box. It ended up being something absolutely ludicrous with characters and just situations that were nonsensical, and it's such a shame. Such a shame. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to say. It was just that bad. It's the novel that but actually, who published this? I'm not sure who published this. Because it's not like a small publishing firm, from what I go. MCD. So it was published in the United States of America in 2017 by MCD, and it was first published in Great Britain in 2018 by Atlantic Books, imprint of Atlantic Books Limited. So it's not like it's a small publishing house, and it's not a debut novel either. It's just, it's not good. And I have read so many great writers who nowhere near would get that, near these big publishing houses, they might not get the chance to, because the limited number of slots available and the amount of competition. So they've taken other routes. They should really get so much more attention than they get. But then you read stuff like this from those publishing houses, and it's like, why? I looked on Goodreads, and there were so many people saying how good this book was that I was getting excited. And then when I delved further, if you really bury through, you can see the people who recognise the story like I did and went, what the hell is this mess? And so I'm not alone. I'm not alone in feeling this, but it sounds like that myself and others who read this book as, who saw the book as we did, are the fewer out of the masses. So if you want to give it a go, I'd say give it a go, but it's not that great. Let me put it that way. Now, I've been going on for 22 minutes now, so I'm not going to do reading. I was going to do one, but I'm not going to now, because I've been babbling on for quite some time. But yeah, those are my thoughts on The Problematic Sourdough by Robin Sloin. Let's ask the questions. Would I read this again? No. There's no way I'm touching this again. Unless I want something that I know is going to make me laugh because it's so ridiculous and I need to brighten up my day, maybe. But no. Would I read any more of Robin's books? Nope, not interested whatsoever. If it's a case of the author, even though it was well paced and such, wasn't able to cater for the international market and had me have to do research to understand what the heck he was talking about, then no, that's not going to happen. Oh, and also one final thing. Girl, Lois, for God's sake, she keeps on wrapping bread in paper towels and asking constantly, I'm not kidding you, if she keeps asking, what is the appropriate thing to place to transport bread in? And she asks it over and over and over again, and I kept on screaming, a box. Just put the bread in a fucking box. That's all you need to do. But it was just like, Jesus. And it's those kind of things. If that's how he's going to write, I'm not going to be interested in anything else he writes. I'm sorry. It's just, you need to be able, a book needs to be understood by anyone who reads it, regardless of where they are, regardless of culture and everything. If you want the masses to understand, you need to cater to the masses. And so, Robin, nope, not reading any more of your books, mate. Would I recommend this to anyone? No, as I said, unless it was a case of, if you want a laugh, then read this. But I would still say, everyone, this is just my opinion. And, as I said before on Goodreads, there are many, many people who absolutely love this book. But yeah, I am not one of them. So I wouldn't recommend it, but I would say, look, if you want to give it a go, see how you feel. But there we are. So that was my 200th book review, guys. Yay! 4.5 years it's taken for me to get to number 200, but I'm right chuffed with that. I think that's great. I did originally, at the beginning, I think I said I was, trying to spoil, but then I did spoil some things, but it was only to explain why this book is so ridiculous. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed looking at it. Yeah, it was good. So if you read this book, I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comments box below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tell you let you decide. And I'll be back with my thoughts on my next read, which is Me and My Shadows by Lorna Luft, who is the middle child of Judy Garland, and this is a book about her mum. But as I said, this next 5 days I'm in work. It's my last week before I finish for my week off, and then at the weekend it's going to be my birthday, Father's Day, and my brother-in-law's birthday, so I'm going to be busy bee. So I'll be back as soon as I can. It might be 2 weeks, or it might be like a week and a bit, depending on with my week off how far through I get this book. But yeah, I will see you guys then, and next time you see me, most likely I'm going to be 35. Woohoo! See you then. Bye.